Good morning. So, welcome to the Tsunami United. I think we should not waste too much time and immediately start with our program. I know that many of you are also busy with the school. Let's start. So, my name is Ardito Kodiat. I'm from the Indian Ocean Tsunami Information Center
Yeah.
of UNESCO IOC. I am
Okay.
based in UNESCO Office Jakarta, and with all the partners that we have here with UNDRR, ADB, Pacifico, You Inspire, and BMKG, we initiated this Tsunami United. So before, maybe I can ask if we can all mute our microphones. And later on, when we start, there will be interactive sessions where you will be requested to turn on your microphones to be able to talk and discuss with us. And also, if you can write your name by country name so that we know where you are from. And then, of course, don't forget to write your name so that we can greet you with your name. So let's start. I think we have a very interesting session. We had similar session yesterday with a lot of active participation. So we are looking forward today to work with you in this journey on Tsunami United. But before we do that, we have some remarks that we would like to, or messages that we would like to convey to you. Here, of course, we have two United Nations organizations working together, which is the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, known as UNDRR, and also the UNESCO, which is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And with that, we will hear the first message or remarks from the UNDRR, the United Nations for Disaster Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, and I have my dear colleague from the UNDRR, Yannick. So maybe I can invite directly Yannick to give the short messages or remarks from the UNDRR. Yannick, the screens and mic is yours.
Thank you very much, Paradito. Hello, everybody. Very pleased to meet you. My name is Yannick Michaud-Marcotte. I'm from Canada, but right now I am based in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and I'm working for United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, as Paradito just mentioned. And I'm really pleased to be here today and also be part with the colleagues from all the partners that were mentioned to welcome you at this event and thank you for joining us today. It's a great honor for me to be here, and it's great to see so many people from the region joining today. So, you know, for UNDR, but also for the United Nations, every child and young person has the right to go to school and learn. When that right is fully realized, we know that education can provide children and young people the prospect of a stable and promising future. However, more and more, disaster is actually threatening this prospect. And the growth of disaster risk and impact around the world is threatening the well-being of school-age children and youth like you. The high level of vulnerability causes children and youth to face a disproportionate share of the burden created by disasters. As you know, approximately half of the people affected by disasters are children and youth. According to UNICEF and other UN organizations with whom we work, approximately 1 billion children worldwide are at extremely high risk due to climate impacts, including climate-related disasters. In 2022, just to give you an example, the number of children affected by flooding, let's take in Chad, Gambia, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, I see many of you are from this country, was the highest in over 30 years. So beyond the risk of death and injury, children in the aftermath of a disaster also face disruptions in schooling, nutrition, and healthcare and protection issues. So it has an overall impact when it comes to this disasters issue. You know, to protect children from disasters, countries must consider their vulnerabilities and needs when designing national and local disaster risk reduction strategies. It is equally important that children and youth are empowered and provide the space to contribute to disaster risk reduction. You know, so you have a space you have a space that organizations like UN, but other organizations should also provide to you so you can be empowered to take action. You know, and to empowering you, you know, especially through education, but also to enables you to protect yourself from disaster and climate change induced problems, but also to make possible for you to become agents of change in your families, but also in your communities. And I think this initiative is a very good example where some you can become agents of change. You know, tsunami are unfortunately too common of an occurrence in the regions and are one of the most devastating hazards. We must never forget the lessons of past disasters, including the terrible one in 2004 in the Indian Ocean tsunami. We honor the memories of those lost by ensuring that the next generation, you, learn these lessons. We are thrilled to have you joining the Tsunami United, an initiative aimed at enhancing tsunami preparedness and resilience of youth and children. Your participation is crucial as we strive to harness collective knowledge and creativity to safeguard our communities. Through workshop and interactive sessions like we do today, you will have the opportunity to contribute to tsunami preparedness. Additionally, you will connect with like-minded individuals, fostering a network of support and shared learning. This initiative that you are participating is not only address immediate risk, but also build long-term resilience through education and engagement. We hope it will allow you to make an impact and to be part of a movement that prioritizes safety and sustainability. We hope other schools around the world will follow your example and join these initiatives, especially as we seek to promote the need to empower the next generation, you, for a resilient future as the main theme for the 2024 International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction and the World Tsunami Awareness Day, which will fall soon on October 13 and 5th November. We are very excited, as we mentioned, to work with you and with children this year on this topic. Again, thank you very much for your participation, and we wish you a successful event and a safe future altogether. Thank you very much. Over to you, Paradito.
Thank you very much, Yannick, for the insightful message. I think there are a lot of strong messages for all of us, not including maybe me, but for all of you, the students. So let's proceed with the welcoming remarks as well as the opening remarks that will be given by the Director and Representative of UNESCO Office, Jakarta. And for that, I would like to invite Mrs. Maki Katsuno Hayashikawa to give the welcoming and opening remarks. Ibu Maki, the floor is yours.
Okay. Oops. Myself. Good. Thank you very much, Paradito, and thank you very much, Yannick, for your remarks. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope all of you are well. It's really great to see you all here connected this morning, united under the Tsunami United initiative. Now, the name sounds like a football team, but of course, we're not a football team, but we are very powerful, a fantastic team that is dedicated to building tsunami resiliency. Now, this tsunami issue, 20 years ago, so it's long before that you were all born. Many of us were shocked by one of the most devastating and traumatizing disasters in this history, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Although the earthquake happened in Indonesia, the impact of the tsunami affected almost all the Indian Ocean countries, including your countries. After that 2004 tsunami, the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO was mandated to develop and coordinate the global tsunami early warning and mitigation system. One of our latest and most exciting initiative among this is one that you are now participating today, the Tsunami United. And this is aimed at connecting the next generation to build coastal resilience. This Tsunami United initiative is also designed especially for you. It's for the next generation, the young people who will carry on the mission to the next decade. Today, we welcome over 200 students registered from 59 schools. We are covering altogether 19 Indian Ocean countries. Part of the countries were yesterday, and today we cover the remaining. And we have been having conversation around the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which had impacted your country, your community, or probably even your family. We will be discussing how your respective countries have progressed over these 20 years on tsunami preparedness. And through this initiative, you will also learn about risk communication. We all have a role as risk communicators. Therefore, we would like to encourage and spark your inspiration, creativity, and innovation to tell a story through different mediums in campaigning tsunami awareness and preparedness. Of course, there's much more, there's much more happening today and beyond. And you have an extraordinary opportunity to have conversation with an astronaut in the International Space Station later on. Well, we cannot probably accommodate all of you to be engaging this directly. We do encourage you to develop creative and unique questions that you would like to ask the astronauts. I would love to communicate with those astronauts as well. Now, before we continue, let me also extend my heartfelt thanks to the team who have been working on this initiative, as well as the school principals and teachers who have supported the initiative, who have allowed you to participate in this event. Most importantly, I thank you all, the students, all of you. I encourage you to participate actively and interactively in this session and all the other remaining sessions that is coming. So please do enjoy this learning journey, and I hope you have a wonderful session today. Thank you very much. Back to you, Pakadito.
Thank you very much, Ibu Maki, for the very encouraging as well as motivating remarks. I think your remarks increase the interest of all of the students in participating in this Tsunami United. So before I hand it over to my colleague Emiliano, I would like to invite all of you to open your cameras so that we can take a group photo. And I think it is a very important moment that we have all of the different students from different regions in the Indian Ocean. So let me take the picture and I will count to 3 and then we all have a big smile. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, hold on. Let me save this first. And I will take another one. Okay, I need to move to the next page. Yes, I have a lot of big faces here. Okay, give a big smile and okay, I get 1, 2, 3, and smile. Big smile. Okay, yes, I got all of the pictures with me. Great. Thank you very much. So, of course, we will continue and we hope that we will have a very exciting conversation about tsunami, about risk that my colleague Emiliano will be taking us through this journey. And I thank you again to Yannick as well as Ibu Maki for these insightful remarks. With that said, Emiliano, I handed the sessions to you.
Yes, and good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to be part of this team and to meet all of you today. We are connecting the next generation to build coastal resilience. We know this is an important year because this year marks the 20th commemoration of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. And this idea that we are all a team, I think it's a good opportunity to get to know each other to collaborate regionally, to learn about the ocean and tsunamis together, and to think about how to be prepared and to discuss future tsunamis as well. This idea that there are two different groups in two different time zones. So today we had like also 100 students from different countries. So we are doing something remarkable, which is connecting students from more than 20 countries. So I expect that we will learn a lot from each other and become somehow the guardians and the ambassadors in our communities, and to protect our communities, and using these learnings to trigger a conversation with our people about tsunamis and about the ocean. So this is the spirit of Tsunami United. So hopefully we will inspire you as the next generation of scientists and artists and communicators, and also disaster risk managers. Many of us, the adults connected to the call today, we work in disaster risk management and communications, and this is a part of improving preparedness and also learning how to be prepared for future events. It's going to be very interactive and participatory. You will be able to use the microphone, open it up, answer questions, share your stories. We'll try to make it dynamic, so there's many of us, so we can our interventions, make them short so that we can allow time for others, and we can also use the chat. Feel free to use the chat, because this is another way in which that we can use to communicate. And I will be speaking English. If I know that for some of you it can be challenging, or maybe if you find some specific things difficult to understand, use the chat and you can tell us, can you repeat that? Can you, I didn't understand that. Feel free to say that. This is absolutely open, and we can stop and we can make sure that everyone follows. And if you don't understand anything, please ask. And then, so we will be discussing the goals of the project, and we will be talking about memory. Memory, it's super important to share learnings, and it means different things in different cultures. So we're really curious what memory means to you, and we want to, in this process in which we learn lots of things, we want to give you the opportunity to tell a story or to do your own research. Or so if you think that any of the topics that we discussed about the ocean, about the coasts, about tsunamis, is interesting to you, just take a note of that, because when we do our own project, which we call it like our story, when you tell your story, it's flexible so that you can connect it with your motivation and with a topic that you find more interesting. For example, there's going to be things related to psychology. That's super interesting. If you like that, you can connect it with that. There will be technology like early warning. If you're interested in that, you can get deeper into that in the project. So pay attention to what makes you more curious, because you will be able to get deeper into that, and we will help you along the process. And we will also be exploring this unique perspective of such a big region like the Indian Ocean from space. So we'll talk about that as well. We will meet for 4 webinars. This is the first one, and they will happen from June to August. This week is the first one. Next week is the second one. And we'll send you always emails with all the information, including this presentation. So you can take notes, but if you prefer not to take notes, you will receive this material. So don't worry about that. There will be 2 time zones. So they are designed to accommodate your school time, to make sure that it's during school time, but it's flexible and you can connect to both. And teachers can also connect, right? And there will be some activities also between the webinars for you to do more things, to learn more things and to get prepared. So all good. Is the chat open? You can chat and say if you can hear me well, if we can, if I'm going at the right pace. Feel free to use the chat if you have any questions, right? And we would like to start playing around with a map, because it's really good fun that we are connecting from different countries. So we're going to invite you to do something interactive on the map, and we will use what we call a board, the Zoom board, that Romy is going to share on screen, so that we can play a bit with the map. And we would like to type the name of your place and your country as part of the map. So here is loading, so bear with us. And now we will have this beautiful map, and you will be able to click on the T for text. And then you can type the name of your place. It can be your country, it can be your city, it can be your village, it can be your neighborhood. It's really open. So for example, I'm in Argentina now. I'm not in the Indian Ocean, but I'm going to type it. And for some reason, the map is moving. Sometimes this is experimental, you know. So you see, I'm going to type mine. And I put it outside the map because Argentina is not in the Indian Ocean. But so let me just see. Okay, there we go. Can you type as well on the map? Give it a try. You can draw, but if you click on the T for text, I see Indonesia. There you go. Wonderful. And the map, for some reason, is moving. So this is Jim from Bangladesh, and you have a question. If we can predict when the tsunamis will occur. No, we can't, and we'll discuss this later, because tsunamis are caused by earthquakes, and we know that they are going to happen, but we don't know when exactly they are going to happen. So we'll discuss this later on, Jim. So apparently the map, it's having a glitch. Romy, what do you think? Is it working, or shall we try a bit, maybe try with the words about the ocean? Because we can play around maybe without the map, and we can just paste the names.
I already put in the map in the whiteboard. It's does everyone see the
Yes,
map?
we can see it, but for some reason I see it small. But yes, now I see it. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. Yes, I can see it now. I see Mauritius, and I was seeing the Indonesia before. Maybe I can give it a try with mine as well, Argentina. And again, I will put it outside the map because I would love to be in the Indian Ocean, but I'm far away. I see Dubai, I see Mauritius, I see Iran. Yay, it's working. Wonderful. Is that Bangkok? BNG? If you click on the text, Bangladesh, if you click on the T, is the easiest, because then you can also draw things. Thank you, Mabuba, from Bangladesh, for your questions. Yes, there are many good things that happened after that tsunami. So many new learnings, regional collaboration, science, early warning, and education programs. I would say even our meeting today, and we have the chance to meet each other because of that event as well. So there were so many consequences, and we will be discussing many of them. And others, you can research them, because it was transformative for the countries in the region and for the way we think about tsunamis and disasters. So yes, so many changes and research and new policy and preparedness programs, technology, sensors, lots of knowledge and learnings after that tsunami. Sharjah, Dubai. Ache, hello Ache, how are you? Good morning. So yes, okay, so we can give it another seconds, and then we will move to a similar activity that we want to do on this map, but without the map, only with words, which is about the words that we use for to name the ocean or to name the sea in your languages. For example, near Argentina, I will put mine, which is océano, or also mar. These are the words that I use in Spanish to talk about the ocean and the sea. Which words do you use? Can you type some of them? And you can also turn the microphone on and share that with you. You can turn the microphone and tell us what are the words that you use for the ocean, for the sea, because there are so many languages different languages that we speak. You can just turn on the microphone or use the chat window, or also directly type the word on the map. Daria, thank you, Sadena. Samudra, thank you, Muhammad. Do you want to say it aloud? Can you turn on the microphone? We would love to hear those words. Shagor, thank you, Shefta.
Samudram.
Samudra, thank you. We would love to
Sea in Persian means Darya.
Dario.
Darya, yeah.
Daria, thank you. Any others?
Shagor.
Shagor.
Cuddle.
Thank you so much. Any others? Shagor in Bangladesh. Excellent. Thank you so much. It's great that we learn new words.
Samudra.
Can you repeat it?
Sure. It's Samudra in Indonesian.
Samudra. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. Samudra. Beautiful word.
you're welcome.
So we're going to continue presentation. So I'm going to share again, and maybe we will close them up for the moment. Thank you so much for sharing those words with us. We were really curious, and it's so interesting to see so many languages and cultures connected today. So we were really, really curious. And I would like to ask you now about the sea and the ocean. What does it mean to you? You can just open the microphone and just tell us, what does it mean to you in your life? I'm sure it's different things to all of you.
Hello.
It's a beautiful, relaxing thing.
I agree.
So
Yep, go ahead.
It's a very beautiful and nice picture.
Thank you. Any other feeling about the sea and about the ocean?
hard to bear. The ocean is like another part of us, you know, like air. It's so nice and it's so beautiful, so natural. It really feels like a part of us actually.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Nahin, for sharing that. I agree. I also agree with that.
Actually, in Bangladesh, ocean is a part of our livelihood in the coastal area. People are very much interacted with the ocean and for being a part of their livelihood. So it's mean a lot. It's mean a lot to us, to Bangladeshi people, especially to the coastal people.
I can imagine. Thank you for sharing that, Shefta.
Many people say meaningful things about sea, but for millions of people, it provides food, and it's so important.
Absolutely, it's a source of food as well. Thank you, Sadina. Thank you for sharing that. Any others? Any other perspectives for the ocean?
It's kind of peaceful. When we are in stress, we can relieve it in oceans or in the beach.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aisha. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So feel free to use the chat as well. We are really curious about how you connect with the topics that we discuss. And we like to ask you a question about yourselves and about your motivations and about your future. What are your dreams for the future? Are in terms of profession or studies or things that you would like to do in the future? We have a short poll, and we would love to ask you to answer it, and we will see the results that are live, so that it is for us an opportunity to get to know you. So I see that some of you want to be scientists, some artists as well. Some of you are still thinking, and half of you are still considering other professions. So science is growing. I like these live results because it's wonderful. So many scientists. And would you like to open your microphone, and those who are answering other professions, what are you thinking of? What are your dreams? What kind of architect?
Yeah, I want to be
Wonderful. That's so cool. I love architecture.
I want to be doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
Yes.
Doctor, architect?
I want to be a doctor as well. I want to be a teacher.
Teacher. Yes.
Teacher.
Yes.
I want to be a pilot.
A what?
Pilot.
A pilot. Wow. Planes? Yeah. Wonderful. Excellent. So it's great for us to know that because the topics that we're going to be talking about tsunami risk and disaster risk have connections with the professions that you mentioned. For example, doctors. There's a direct connection with health. So if you're interested in that for your work and for your story, you can explore and research the connection with health. Doctors play such an important part in disasters. For you who want to be an architect, resilient architecture is so important when we talk about earthquakes and tsunamis. So that's another topic. If you want to get deeper into that topic, thinking and connecting it with your career and with your interest, there's definitely a connection with architecture. For you, those of you who want to, you mentioned teachers, this is all about education. So you can get deeper into that. And this, as part of these activities, you can connect all that we learn with education and with teaching, so that it's part of your of what you want to be. Like this hopefully will be enriching no matter which of these paths you take. And you mentioned pilot. I'm thinking let's explore the connections with pilots, but I'm sure that pilots, for example, know a lot about I'm not sure about these tsunamis, but about hurricanes and about strong winds and about how to land in different ways when there are strong winds. So pilots know a lot about the weather and a lot about geography. So there are definitely connections. So thank you for sharing that. And again, this is an opportunity for us to get to know you and to make sure that what we do in this series, in these activities, builds on that direction. So it's about your motivation too. So thank you for sharing that. And we will continue to the next part, in which we start to talking about memory, right? And also to talk about tsunamis. And we have a short poll there. Do you know from which language does the word tsunami come from?
I heard it from Japanese. Yes, Japanese.
Yes. Correct, correct. And you can just fill the form. This is easy. Apparently, everyone knows that it's a Japanese word. But believe it or not, 20 years ago, when this tsunami happened, many people heard the Japanese word tsunami for the first time. It was a new word because it was the first time that it was such a big phenomenon, big event in an era where there was already the internet and lots of information. So this word started to be used so much, like all of us know this Japanese word after this event. So this is how language also spreads, right? So yes, there is a Japanese word, correct. All of you know. Great. So we're going to be, after, of course, we're going to be talking about tsunamis, and we're going to be talking about memory, right? Because it's been 20 years since that event, and discussing this with you is symbolic because you were not born, but it's so important to learn about it and to keep that memory alive that this conversation with you is so meaningful. But at the same time, memory can mean many different things. What does it mean to you? And feel free to open the microphone. And again, no right or wrong answers. Here is just your feelings and getting to know each other.
I feel like memory means something that is real, that is beautiful, and I feel like it can't be, we can't do it again. It's from the past, and we can't bring it back. So if it's beautiful, you're gonna remember it, and you're gonna you're gonna feel it. That's it.
Wonderful. Very poetic. I like it. Thank you, Afna. Any other ideas and feelings? Mabuba?
For me, memory is something that is good or bad, but I want to remember that. That is memory for me.
Wonderful. Good or bad, but you want to remember. I like it. Any other?
Memory is a kind of thing what is occurred past, and that's we can learn from it, and it felt a deep effect on us. That how can we remember it?
Thank you so much. Yes, Hanif, go for it.
Memory is something that is not forgettable.
I like it. Yay. Thank you for sharing that. Any others? And you can also use the chat window. And I know some of you maybe don't have your camera on. Maybe the camera doesn't work. Don't worry. But you can use the chat. You can ask questions. I see there's people from Indonesia, from Malaysia, that don't necessarily have the camera on, but feel free to participate in any way. So Jim, go ahead. You have to unmute. There you go.
Hello. Sir, for me, I guess memory is something which we get from our past experiences.
Yep. Yep. Thank you. We could create a map with all these answers because they work really nicely together. But yes, there's past experience, definitely. Any others? I'm curious. We've been looking for. Go ahead. Yeah, Nahin.
By memory, to me, it's like a part of the past that is good or bad, but I have to remember it. Rather, it is extremely bad or extremely good, because this memory might come to use in the future. You never know.
Yay. You never know. So it's there with you. At some point, it will be useful. Yes. And it can be shared, right? This is something that memory is something that you share as well, right? It's not only individual.
Yeah, so that everyone what you're suffering and what you had suffered in the past. You have to let everyone know.
Yes, yes, it can be bad, and yes, and somehow it's a way of processing past experiences as well. Yeah. Sadiq Atala.
Memory, something that we can memorize for the rest of life is could be happiness or bad.
Yes, always with us. And we collected these pictures of different ceremonies that people do in the anniversaries and commemorations of the tsunamis. And it's amazing to see how different they are and how beautiful they are. Like you can tell when you see the pictures that these are special moments when people, and these are ceremonies about the anniversaries of the tsunami 2004. This year will mark the 20th anniversary, but this take place every year. So we were like really impressed as how beautiful these ceremonies are. Look at this different meanings. Sorry, I missed something. Yeah. So any other feelings about memory before we move on to the next one? Thank you for sharing that. It's great to have this perspective from many of you. I don't get to see the chat window because I'm sharing the screen. So if you see any, let me just make sure that I see the chat window. Let me just see, for some reason I'm not seeing and I'm sharing again. Okay, great. So I'm going again there. Because I don't want to miss any message from you. There you go. Okay, found it. Great. Excellent. Let me see. Memory is a moment that we cannot forget. Thank you. Meura Razan from Banda H. Sadena, you asked if we were going to repeat yesterday's content. If you attended the previous meeting, yes, we're going through the same content. The idea is that you come only for one of each sessions. We do it twice for the different time zones. And it's also recorded if you want to watch it again. If you enjoyed it a lot, and you can watch it again. So yes, so now I have the chat with me. Thank you, Asicia and Farel, for your comment. Thank you, Sman Baya. Memories is like an experience that happened in life. It is part of our life and journey. Memory can be rememberable, but we forget most of our past. Thank you, Tanhim Ahmed. Then, thank you, Sadina. And I'd like to ask you about the 2004 tsunami, what it means to you. And of course, I know that you were not born, but we are very sensitive. And you know, for some of your communities, this had a very big impact. So we are curious and we would love to ask you, like, what does that event that happened 20 years ago, what does it mean to you, even though you're younger? How do you connect with it? And again, this is an open question, no right or wrong answers. It's just to get to know each other and how we connect differently with the main topic that we are here to learn from. You can open the microphone, you can use the chat again. I'm curious about what that event means to you.
I feel like the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami is, we can connect with it by stories, because I wasn't born when it was, I'm not born 2004, so it's, we just connect with it with some stories.
Yes, I can imagine. Thank you. So we will be learning about the power of stories, and we will also be learning to tell stories in these activities. So thank you. Thank you, Afna. Sman Baya?
So I'm from SMA. So I'm from SMA Negeri 1 Baya and Indonesia. So memory for us when my parents and the teacher in my school tell story about kill many people because of tsunami disaster. So in the past condition, it's very worrying because it was so scared.
Yes.
It's enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yes, so you connect through stories from your teachers and stories from your parents. And yes, we are here to learn about those stories and to learn about the progress as well, because so many things about preparedness and monitoring and resilience and risk reduction happen in these 20 years. But there's still a risk, and we are dealing with natural events. So it's important to learn from them, and this is part of that process. Hanif, go for it. You're still muted, so you have to unmute your microphone.
At that time, I was not born, but I heard that 2004 tsunami is one of the deadliest natural disasters, and it kills 230,000 people.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Nahin?
The 2004 tsunami, that I wasn't born at that time, but what I heard from my parents, that it was a really terrifying natural disaster, and I gathered a lot of information from the net, Google, and after reading and knowing about this natural disaster, I feel bad myself. Like, how could such a horrible natural disaster occur? And the damage it made to the other countries and people, it was really sad. And I really don't want such thing to happen to my country. But even though Bangladesh wasn't that affected like other countries, it could have been affected if our country there didn't have if our country there didn't have that kind of protection, it could have done a lot of damage to our country. So I think I want my country to stay safe. I want to learn more about these natural disasters, the tsunami, and know more about it so I can keep my country safe, not for myself, but for everyone too.
That's wonderful. And this is what we are here for. So yes, let's go for more. This will be our challenge as a group, to learn more and to make sure that instead of feeling fear, we use science to learn about why this happened and to learn about all the things that we can do to be safer and to make our community safer. Mabuba, go for it.
I'm Mahabuba from Bangladesh. As I was born in the time 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, but I have heard many things from my grandparents about the situation in that time in Bangladesh. Actually, that situation was not so good, and I feel so bad to hearing that how much danger tsunami was that. And in our country, it was not too much severe like Indonesia, Thailand, etc. But I can say that it never impact my country, but it also impact. The situation was that there was flooding in our country, and continuous raining for 3-4 days, and it impact on the local, such as fishermen, farmer in their life. And I also saw a movie about the Indian Ocean Tsunami 2004 impact on Thailand. That movie name is Tsunami Yarmet. You can also see that this movie was very wonderful, and I feel so bad to see that the impact of that tsunami on Thailand. That's all.
That's wonderful. If you can type the name of the film on the chat window, maybe some of us can watch it, because we will share another one. And then and these are great opportunities to learn. I agree. Films are good. And you know what? Sometimes disaster films are not very accurate, but the ones on tsunamis and the ones that we are recommending are really, really powerful and good. So we recommend to watch them, because this is another way to learn. There's one comment from Farel Alsacia. We are from Aceh, but we were not born yet. But our parents tell us the tsunami have a lot of meaning for us that make us realize that we need to end our conflict between us and Indonesia. Thank you, Farel Alsacia, for sharing that. Then Bangladesh, Sakib, you have a question you want to tell us?
Yes. On 26 December 2004 at 7:58 local time, a major earthquake with a magnitude of 9.2 to 9.3 struck with an epicenter of the west coast of northern Sumatra, Indonesia, and location is Sumatra, Sri Lanka, Banda, Aceh, Tamil Nadu, etc.
Thank you so much for sharing. Sania?
Hello, I'm Sania from Aceh, Indonesia. I heard from my family that it was the worst time where many people lost everything they had, including their family. Thank you.
Thank you, Sania. And this meeting and this conversation is also a way of honoring those communities, and will show lots of respect for that people who had those losses. At the same time, we have the challenge of learning a lot about this, so as to help our communities be more prepared next time. Thank you for sharing that. Meurara-san?
Tsunami in my mind is that disaster that happened in Aceh in 2004. That thousands of people Aceh were victim on this or the first time of the tsunami.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, all of you. And we'll keep on talking about, because this is the main topic of conversation, and I'm showing some pictures on the screen. Let me ask you, all of you, is anyone that having any problems with the English or with the language? If you want us to repeat something or to go through anything again, all of you, even if you don't have the video camera on, let us know. Send a message. We are here just to make sure that everyone feels part and that everyone can participate. So let's move on. And I'd like to ask you, well, we already discussed that. And thank you, many of you who shared the perspective of how your country was affected. Again, the region is so big, and this event affected so many countries that it's so good to learn from each other, even some long distance country. Today, in the other time zone, in the other group, we had people from Kenya, from South Africa, and many hours after their countries were also affected by this same tsunami. So this affects very big regions. We're going to move on to the next one. These are emblematic pictures in Banda Aceh of just some of the buildings that survived. This is a mosque that, for you who were an architect, apparently this is a good example of resilient architecture, because it had like a very resistant structure.
Emiliano, you haven't shared the screen.
Really? I'm sharing. I thought I was.
I was seeing this.
Okay, yes.
Oh, you were seeing it. Yes, I was sharing.
Yes, it was sharing. Yes, we can see that. It was sharing before.
Okay, sorry. In that case, let me just go again. So yes, this picture is emblematic, not only because of how destructive the tsunami was here in this part. I think this is Banda Aceh, but because of how this mosque was an example of resilient infrastructure. And also you can see there's a refugee camp set up right in front. So yes, it meant lots of disruptions for many regions. And you know that at that time, this was a global event. Like this was in the news in so many countries and so many regions, and people had their video cameras. So there were so many of those videos shared by tourists and by locals. So it was really a regional and international event. And if you can see some examples, there's the before and after of those events, as for you to have a look at how big this was and how transformative it was for the coast. Have a look at these images in the coast. There were villages that were like lots of really affected. And then this is the epicenter. And as many of you know, this was caused, and tsunamis are caused by earthquakes. And those earthquakes happen when the tectonic plates underneath the ocean, they accumulate energy one against the other. And at some point, that energy is released and creates an earthquake. So this was a very big earthquake in the middle of the ocean off the coast of Indonesia. And that's why Banda Aceh was so affected, because it was really near the epicenter. So some of you asked if they can be predicted. It's we know that tectonic plates accumulate energy over time, so the chances are increased over time that it's going to be an earthquake. But we don't know when. Scientists measure the level of energy accumulated, but it's impossible to know with the technology that we have today when it happens. But we know that tsunamis are created by earthquakes, and this is at the bottom of the sea. And the rupture, when the energy is released, the fault breaks, and the rupture was many kilometers, like 16 kilometers long. That's why it triggered a tsunami that was big and really big and affected over the hours a big region and so many different countries. And you see that it gets to Somalia, to Eastern Africa. So this is why it was like such a good opportunity to get together students from all these different countries to learn together about this, because regional collaboration, it's so important. Whenever these events happen, now there are different sensors and monitorings and alert systems, so that this gives time to alert other populations. So this is some maps that show also that the waves were really high in some of the places. So it was a very unusual event, right? A very unusual event. And that's why it had such an impact on the coasts. And this is a global map that shows how many countries were affected in terms of victims. And if you see, like the red color is the local countries that were near the epicenter and had more victims. But then there were also other countries, many other countries around the world. And if you see that blue color, it's because there were so many tourists. And tourists are also part of the people who were really affected, because they really didn't have information about this event. So just to give you an idea of how this was a global event, right? And you mentioned the movie, and thank you for sharing the movie. And if you have others, please feel free to share. We will send you the link of this one, which is called The Impossible. I'm seeing, okay, yes, I have a poll. Great. Did you see this? No, most of you did not see it. You know that you can watch it online. So we have a link that we will share with you by email. And it's like really, really well done. So we recommend it. But we also want to watch other movies that you may recommend. So feel free to share. You can use the chat window and tell us. But I can see, yes, that 27 of you watched it. Did you like it? You can say it in the microphone. Just feel free to open if you like the film. I really liked it. I found it like, at least that I could learn a lot about how how it was, not only the event, but all the process right after, and how disruptive this was for so many people. So we will send you the link. It's on YouTube and you can watch it. Thank you for your answers. This is great. It's really cool to have your answers real time. And we are going to talk about communications. And we want to share a story with you. And this is a story that you may use as an example or maybe inspiration, because we will start thinking about creating your story. This is in these 4 versions, in these 4 webinars, we want you to choose a topic related to the tsunamis and the ocean and the natural barriers in the coast, and how life is transformed by tsunamis, connected to any of these topics that we are seeing in the slides. And it's an opportunity to tell a story. So let me just close this window. And I want to tell you about Martina. Martina was a 12-year-old girl in a Chilean island. We met her a few years ago because we knew that she had managed to save her community. During the night, everyone was sleeping, and she realized with her father that there was a very strange behavior of the ocean, and that could be a tsunami. So she woke up the whole village, and they ran uphill before the tsunami hit the village. And this is a real story. And it was a girl who realized at that time there were not alarms and no early warning systems. Now the situation is different, but there are so many learnings about that. So we did a podcast with them. So we looked for them. Nancy, who's connected to the call today, she looked for Martina during the pandemic, and we had a wonderful conversation with her about that story. And she told us a story with audio. And then we said, wow, we have this amazing story by her. And this is a podcast with UNDRR, with the United Nations. And we said, why don't we do animation? If we have the voice, and then we do a beautiful animation, 5 minutes with 25 animators that we will send it to you. This is Martina and her father that night looking at the ocean, seeing that there was something happening. And this is the distant island in the Pacific. This is not the Indian Ocean. This was in the Pacific near the coast of Chile. And this is the village. And this is the wave that literally disrupted the life in the village. This was a village that was completely transformed. And this is how they managed to go very early in the morning to the top of the hill. And there are so many good practices today about people who live in the coast, who learn how to walk uphill or walk far away from the coast when there's an earthquake. And this is an important learning and practice. So we will send you this example of a story that we also did with UNESCO. And because it started as reading the news. We heard, do you remember that girl who saved her community? And then to tell that story, we looked for her, had a conversation with her, and then did the animation. So we think that this is potentially a process that you may want to talk about or to research. And this could be applied to any of your topics. I'm thinking to those of you who answer that you want to be a doctor. If you want to talk to someone who was a doctor right after the tsunami, and to see what it was like to be a doctor at that time, and to help people and to cure people and to treat patients, there's an opportunity to talk to people who were there from different perspectives. You talked about architecture. What did architects learn about the tsunami? This is another interesting, like each of those motivations that you mentioned could be the starting point for a story that you can tell. And we also thought that we would bring this example that we really loved, which is at that time, many of the children, after going through that event, they did drawings and to tell the story of what they saw and to still process their memories and that experience. And after a few years, they met, and there they are older, and they are still keeping and getting together to have a conversation and to talk about the drawings that they did when they were younger. So we thought this is a beautiful story and a community event. So we thought this is another way to connect and to learn with it through your perspectives, through your story. So you can start thinking, you don't have to decide it today, but in the next conversation next week, we will talk about finding your voice and creating your story. So think about what are your motivations are and what are the interesting parts about this topic that you find more appealing, so that we can use this as an opportunity to, you can do pictures, you can do an interview with someone who was there, you can write a poem if you like writing a poem, you can do some research about health or about architecture, or for you teachers, you can design some activity for other students to learn about tsunami. So this is an opportunity to create new things. And we want to tell you a bit about this activity that we want to do with an astronaut in space. Why? Because we thought since we are meeting and we are from a region that is so big, we thought, hey, this could be a unique perspective of the region that we are part of, right? So we started to look for pictures of what kind of research is done in the International Space Station about from space, from satellites, analyzing, for example, the coast. And if you see that, these are satellite images about the effects on the coast of a tsunami in Thailand. And here's a poll. Thank you, Nancy, for sharing the poll. Do you know where the International Space Station is?
International Space Station.
This is good fun.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I see that many of you know. A few years ago, I didn't know. And this is it's like a flying laboratory in orbit. So it's huge laboratory. At least they always have at least 6 astronauts from different countries. So it's truly international. They have people from different scientists from different continents, and they do research. They don't look to the stars. They don't look at the sky. They look at the Earth, and they research changes and they monitor things in the Earth. So this International Space Station is a place where scientists work and where research is conducted to study the Earth. And some of those examples that I'm sharing on screen, like studying how a coast changes and how a coast is affected, this is something that's so powerful to study from that perspective. Here's another picture from Java, Indonesia, that I really like, and that we found is amazing. These are all volcanoes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like this is an impressive satellite image of how, just to see how important volcanoes are in the formation of our islands in the Pacific, in the Indian Ocean. So this is a unique perspective to study volcano. Let's say if you want to monitor an eruption, this is wonderful. So monitoring an eruption, this is something that you can do from space, and scientists also study that. And this is a coast in Somalia, East Africa. Look at the amazing view that they have. And if you want to see how that coast is changing or how it's affected by an event like a tsunami, this is a very powerful way to observe what you study. And this is a storm. So we have here is monitoring a storm from space, which is really amazing. Imagine looking at the Earth like that and seeing that storm and being able to study that. I still find this amazing. And we already had 2 conversations in the past with astronauts, and they connect through radio. So the conversation is an audio conversation. And the good thing is that we are going to have a conversation with an astronaut in end of July. So we do have, and that is confirmed, that is happening end of July between the 22 and 22nd. Don't worry, we will send all the information, and there's time. And you will be able to prepare one question and to send one question and the best questions will be selected. Why do we select? Because the conversation is only 10 minutes, because the spaceship moves very fast and we only have 10 minutes to talk to the astronaut. So we will select 16 questions. So by June 22nd, so you will have, we can discuss that also next week, but think of what question would you like to ask? And it has to be about the ocean, about the coasts, about life in the coast, about life in the ocean, about tsunamis, about climate change. So these are some possible topics. Of course, we want to make sure that this conversation is part of this learning experience, about this process that we are doing together. So think about it, and we'll discuss this on the next meeting next week. And the activities continue. So this was session 1, and we are about to wrap up in a few minutes. And next week we will connect for the second session. We will send you all these details, and then we will have 2 other sessions, and the contact with the ISS is going to be on July 22nd to 26th. We don't know exactly which day, because the astronaut confirms which day exactly 2 weeks before, depending on their availability. But this is confirmed. It's going to happen that week. It's going to happen a weekday, and it's going to happen during school time as well. And then there will be a deadline to submit the stories. So September the 3rd is the last time to submit the stories. And the best stories, and when I say stories, again, we will discuss this in next time, but it can be an essay, it can be an interview, it can be a video, it can be a photo or series of photos, it can be some research that you do on an important topic, and we call it your story, and it's also can be communications or science, and this is part of what we will learn together to do, and you will be able to submit it before early September. And then the best stories will be highlighted in the commemorations of the 20th year of the tsunami, and that will take place that will happen at the end of the year in November. So before we discuss next steps, I'm sure you may have questions, so feel free to ask any questions. I'm looking at the chat window now, and go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Afna.
So I have a question. The question is like, the last session, is it like a group project or is it just individual?
Thank you so much for asking that. It's open for you to do any of them. If you feel like working on your own, you can do so. If you feel like working with other colleagues, you can work in group, and that is also possible. So we want to make sure that this is flexible, to accommodate like what do you think works best for you, and what do you feel like, if you want to work with your team and with your people and with your classroom, yes, you can do so. And of course, you need to tell us the names of people you are working with. And it has to be like students that are connected to this experience, right? It will be very difficult to engage others who don't know what we're talking about. So, but you still can work in groups. Thank you for asking that. I didn't mention that. It was in the slide. Any other questions?
I have a bit confusion with the topic. Will you carry it?
Yes, there's something with the microphone, Esha Aiwa. Give it a try again, but there seems to be an echo, right? Maybe you have 2 computers connected to the same event. Could that be the case, that you have 2 computers there?
I have a bit confusion with the topic about it. Will you clear it?
With what topic do you have a confusion?
What we have to do, and what's the topic with it? We have to do with it.
Okay, we will have time to discuss it the next week, but the main topic will be We will present it next week in detail, but as I said, it's about telling a story about tsunamis that raises awareness and helps educate others about tsunamis. So it's about triggering a conversation and sharing what you learn about tsunamis with others. This is a year in which we will be talking about tsunamis. So based on things that you learn, you may want to educate others and tell a story about what you learned so that others can learn about it. Dara?
Yes.
Dara, you can ask, but you have to unmute yourself.
Hello. For the second meeting, we will talk about the tsunami. Like, I don't like telling what our I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Sorry.
Take your time. Yes, it's okay. Slowly, we have time. You can try. For the next meeting? Do you want to know if we need to prepare something for the next week, for the next meeting?
For the next meeting, do we have to tell about the tsunami? Like, maybe, apa? Yeah, like storytelling.
We will discuss more in the next meeting. You don't have to prepare the story, but you can start thinking about what you are interested in. So in the next meeting, we will learn about the learnings and the progress in these 20 years, because now there's new science, there's new policy, there are new educational programs about tsunamis, there's new early warning systems. There are so many things that we learned about tsunamis in these 20 years. So next time we will be discussing about that. And this will also be material for you to pay attention and say, hey, I'm interested in that. So we will bring more stories and information, and you will be paying attention to what is the part that is more interesting to you. But we have time to prepare that, right? So it's not that you need to prepare the story for the next time. We're still learning, we're still getting to know each other, but you can start watching the film, watching the animation, learning more, and then see what is that motivates you. Hanif?
Is that possible to have advanced knowledge about earthquake?
If it's possible to have what about earthquake?
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Is that possible to have advanced knowledge about earthquake?
If we can have more knowledge about earthquakes? Yes, of course. And we can send you more information about that. And you can also research on the web. Are you interested in that topic? May I ask you, do you want to learn more about earthquakes? Because you are interested in earthquakes? Yes, absolutely. They are fascinating and really interesting to learn, and it's so important to learn about it. So when we send you the links about this talk by email, we will include some link to learn for you to learn about earthquakes. Okay. Thank you. Babuba?
Actually, I have no questions about this topic, but I would like to answer your last questions. That is, what have I learned from this session, mainly from this work? What is the benefits of this work? So I think that there is many benefits of this work that I have learned. I am the example of these benefits, that I have learned many things about tsunami, and I have learned how to reduce tsunami, and I told my youngers to reduce tsunami and save our nature and save and do the things to reduce the natural disaster, and that is the benefits, and that's all.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Mabuba. And may I ask you, where did you read about that? Do you recommend any web page or any source that you can share with others?
Actually, I have learned about tsunami from newspapers, articles, and Google also. And
Yay.
there is many pages in Google about tsunamis. You can visit that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other questions? I know there's lots of information. And again, don't worry that you don't have to prepare all the stories for next time, but it's important that you that you pay attention to the email that we will send, and also that you come here next week. We will have a second session. You can watch the animation that we send, and we will send you by email another survey or another small activity with materials and resources. So you will receive everything by email, and start thinking about what is the story, what is the topic that is more interesting to you when we discuss tsunamis. This is something that the topic is so broad that it's important for you to identify what is the parts that are more interesting to you. And also think about the space. What would you ask an astronaut? This is something that you can start thinking about. And don't worry, we'll continue the conversation about all this next week. What do you think? Good. Thank you. Excellent. It's so much fun, and it's so great to hear all your perspectives. Any other questions? Any other feelings, ideas, concerns? Feel free to open the mic and ask anything. We are a team after. Yeah.
Sorry, sir, from the previous check. As a citizen of Cox's Bazar, can I share my experience of storms with it?
Yes. If you have experience with storms, we'll make sure that we talk about that next time. I think that in the survey we asked you if you had experience with if there are other natural hazards in your country. I'm sure if you had the chance, this is an opportunity to tell us about other natural hazards other than tsunamis, like storms or hurricanes or cyclones. But yes,
Sir,
next time you can.
I was asking if I can add the experiences with the story.
Oh, if you can work on that story, let's discuss that next week. Next week in the next session, and we of course it's open, but at the same time, I think it's a good opportunity for you to make it based it on these new learnings, like to use a starting point, some of the new things that we're learning about tsunamis. But I'm sure there's a connection. So let's explore that next week. What do you think?
Yes, okay.
Excellent. Any other questions before we wrap up? I will pass it on to Ardito in 1 or 2 minutes, but if you have any other questions, feel free to use the chat window. Yep. Did I hear a comment? No. Excellent. This is fun. And I'm so happy that we connected today, and thank you so much for all your opinions and interventions and ideas. I'll pass it on again to Ardito, that he's going to do the closing remarks.
Yes, thank you, Emiliano. I'm not going to give remarks, but I'm just going to say thank you very much for all your participations. I see that all the participants are very active, just like yesterday, very active. Today, also very active. A lot of questions, a lot of ideas, a lot of suggestions. So we really appreciate all your input. And we would like to continue to work with you. So hopefully we will be seeing you again next week. As Emiliano has shared, there will be several sessions. So, and every sessions will be different. Every sessions you will be interactive. So continue to join with us. So please do monitor our website. This is our website. Also, always monitor your email, all informations, invitations, link, resources, as we will share with you through our website as well as through emails. So, and the emails will be sent by Indian Ocean Tsunami Information Center. So make sure that if it goes to your spam or it goes to your other folders, make sure that you find this Indian Ocean Tsunami Information Center emails. So with that, thank you very much for joining us. And I really look forward to seeing all of you again next week. So have a good day, and please share what you learned with all your friends in the school. You are now our team, and you are now our champion in spreading the information about tsunami awareness and preparedness. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. See you next week.
See you next week. Take care.